YouTube says, is this content made for kids? No.
Welcome everybody to While You're Up. My name is Matt. This is my beautiful wife, Allison. This is our inaugural first podcast. We both have some experience in the podcast world together, but we decided it'd be really fun to do it together. And I got a lot of fun stuff to talk about. So again, thank you so much for tuning in. We're going to try and get down here and record as often as we can. But again, this is something that we just thought would be a lot of fun to do and thought that maybe you guys would enjoy it as well. So Allison, anything that you want to say, introduce yourself to the people out there?
I'm just really excited to be here.
That's why she's the best in the business, people. That is grade A co-hosting right there. So anyway, the first thing I guess that we kind of wanted to talk about, we've got so many good ideas. Like we're just adding them to our list as we go. Just like fun stuff we want to talk about. Things that, I don't know, married couples, people in general, just like talk about things that they think about, things that are going on in the world, things that are culturally, relevant or important, or maybe just sometimes they're just going to be stupid, just for fun, just for gigs. And, but whatever we're going to talk about today as a married couple, we thought it was very interesting. Something that is on the rise, especially in America, but around the world too. And that's cohabitating, cohabitating. So I know you looked up some stuff on this. Why don't you kick us off with just kind of like what cohabitating is, just like your first take, what's your thought on it?
I don't know that I have like a first take. Like,
Well,
my
like-
first, like you're holding up those things and Jenna just messaged me.
What'd you say?
Did you call Orange Theory?
You haven't yet though. So by the way, Jenna, you told her to call like 2 or 3 times in about 2 seconds. She has not called yet. So
That's funny.
let the record show.
Let the record
She should have reminded you one more time, probably.
Yeah, probably could have texted me this morning. No, like I don't. What are those little tests called? That blob tests?
The Worcestershire, the ink blot test. But it's actually like the like legit name is called like a
Yorkshire's.
Yorkshire. It's the sauce that you put on your food, the Worcestershire. It's
Those.
something like that.
I don't have like initial thoughts when those things pop up.
Well, see, okay. So, as a married couple, we obviously are not cohabitating. If you don't know what cohabitating is, like I don't know, like let's look it up real quick. I don't
Look
want
it up, babe.
I don't want to give someone like the wrong information. So hold on, we're gonna do this in live time. I can learn how to spell. There we go.
Well,
Thank you. So, like the first thing that pops up when you type in cohabitation on Google. The state of living together and having a sexual relationship without being married.
I didn't realize that it was like you had to be intimate with one another.
I don't see it. Yeah.
I don't know that like you have to.
I don't feel like you have to either. I feel like if you have,
Oh wait, no, the next one doesn't.
This-
Scroll up a
okay.
little bit.
What?
I can't because the lights.
Oh,
are
the state or fact of living or existing at the same time or in the same place. See,
a harmonious cohabitation with other living creatures. So you could cohabitate with your dog.
well, the way that we're talking about,
Not
though,
to the first one.
not yeah,
Not by the first
let's be
definition.
very clear here that I did not say that. Jesus, don't get us kicked off before we even get on here. But no, I mean, I think that it's somewhere probably in the middle, and like what we mean by it,
Like
and what we're
you might get a little
about.
freaky sometimes with the people that you're living with.
Yeah, it's like it's
Like
like
just to
it's
try
like
it out.
I feel like cohabitation is like a mutually beneficial, like
Friends with
living,
bennies?
friends with bennies who also share the rent. That's like what it is.
It's like all the bennies you would ever
It's like all,
like
it's all
need,
bennies. Yeah, it's like
right?
So I mean,
No,
probably.
I love being married to you.
No, but I mean, so as like a married couple, obviously we are not cohabitating. We're married.
Right.
And that's like the line is like, if we were not legally married, but we had the exact same life that we currently have, we would then be cohabitating.
Because it's the legal obligation to one another.
So we're saying that's the line.
Yeah.
It's the legal. Like
Yes.
that's the line. Okay. So guys, message in. We're going to post our link tree in the description of this so you can get us on Twitter. You can get us on all of our different platforms. We're going to be on YouTube, all of your different podcasting platforms, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, you name it. So let us know what you think if you've experienced this or you know someone that is. No judgment from us. We're a married couple, so like that's the way that we choose. Oddly enough, we both forgot to wear our rings today, so it looks like we are exactly what we're talking about. But we are married, at least in the state of Montana. But Anyway,
Yeah, jury's out.
yeah, jury's out on the rest. We'll see. Anyway, let us know what you think about it. If you have some experience in this, or family or friends that are cohabitating, I think it's a pretty interesting concept. I can tell you that like cohabitating in our parents' generation, like that was not a fucking thing.
Well, if you looked up the like stats or whatever, especially whenever it came to like opposite sex people, they it was like, I don't know, 8% or something, like super low, like single digits. And now it's like upwards of 40% of people cohabitate with the opposite sex.
That's what I mean. It's like, and it's going to get higher.
Yeah.
But like, that's what I mean. Like in our parents' day, like when our parents were 20, the idea of cohabitation was never possible. It did not exist.
Yeah, you definitely did not do it.
You were either single or you were married. I mean, obviously like dating or whatever, but like you didn't live together for prolonged periods of time and not be married.
Yeah.
And again, right, wrong, or indifferent. I'm not taking a stance on what I think is right or wrong, but it's just like it's become a more acceptable thing in today's world. Mm-hmm. And like the legal side of it's important. Like I don't know, because
I think so. I mean, I think you have to, which of course, like there is like a religious aspect to it too, right? Yeah. Like there's some beliefs in the like what it means to be married that play into why people want to do it, because like I feel like if that wasn't there, then really the only benefit of being married is just like the legally obligated to one another, like you're literally signing up to be together. But then like there's just the whole other side of it that's like a greater connection and the choice to like, if I'm going to be with you, we're going to be married.
It's definitely a bigger commitment because like even if you're cohabitating, you might like share a house or something together. And share some bills and all that stuff, whatever. But there's definitely a bigger commitment that I feel like when the legal commitment to it is more like a formality, but it stands for something bigger where it's like, I'm going to dedicate not only like my body, my mind and soul, but also everything that is like a tangible thing in this world. Every external thing in this world, I'm dedicating to us working and us succeeding together. Yeah. So it's like, it's a commitment thing for sure. Not that cohabitating is not though, because that's still a pretty big commitment. It's like,
Yeah, I mean, think about that. Like it would make me uncomfortable, I feel like, because you just never know when the other person can just say peace out. They just drop you.
Oh, dude, though, but with the divorce rate in America these days, like,
I guess you could think that too.
Well, like, what's the difference? I looked up, here, let me find it. I looked up some of these,
I can't see a thing with these.
I looked up some bar graphs, which obviously bar graphs are the best graphs. Maybe pie charts, but that's a chart, not a graph. That's what I'm going to stay. That's what I'm going to say. I'm sticking to it, So anyway, here, hold on. Let me find it. Marriage and cohabitation in the U.S. This is just whatever. This is an article I found.
QResearch.org.
Yeah, it says research and it's .org. So like, it's true.
Yes, it's verified.
Yeah, it's verified. You paid $8 a month and got a blue check mark next to it. Anyway. Okay. So as more U.S. adults are delaying marriage or foregoing it altogether, the share of who have ever lived with an unmarried partner or cohabitating is on the rise. And that's what we were saying, right? So like here's the bar graphs that say it. Okay. Percent of adults 18 to 44 who have ever cohabitated.
Can we like screenshot this command space?
Yeah, we will.
But no, like don't forget to do it. So just like real quick.
We'll throw it in.
I'll do it. The keyboard right there.
This keyboard doesn't work the same. But we will. We'll throw this in so you guys can see what we're looking at here.
I'll put a little thing on the screen.
But in 2002, 54% of people, of adults 18 to 44, had cohabitated at some point in their life or whatever at another time. But 60% were married in that same group. So ever married. So like 18 to 44-year-olds in 2002, 54% had cohabitated at some point and 60% were married at some point. Between 2013 and 2017, those numbers flip-flopped to where now 59% of that same group of people have ever cohabitated together, and only 50% had ever been married, which is...
I wonder what that looks like now after the pandemic.
Oh, it's way more.
Yeah.
It's way more. And, like, that just shows that, like, as time has progressed, I'm curious what it is now, because, like you said, after a pandemic, like, 2019 to 2023, I bet you these numbers, like, are cohabitating or even higher, I would assume. But that's just like something kind of interesting. Again, I have no idea if this is, what the research and what the
I wonder what sample size they used.
Sample
what part
size
of the United States did they pull?
There's a lot of different factors, but still, regardless, it's just like a small piece of information that I do think is reflective of like the general consensus of like, is cohabitating acceptable? And like, yeah, like it has become acceptable. Again, whether you think it's acceptable or not, like it's become acceptable.
Scroll back up a little bit.
Yeah.
No, wait, sorry. The other way.
Down.
Down. Keep going. Wait, up.
So
there.
Marriage is, people.
Married adults also express higher levels of satisfaction with their relationship. About 6 in 10 married adults say their marriage is going well. 4 in 10 of cohabitators say the same about their partner. So like two people are happier being married.
Yeah, 20%. Yeah. So like 20% of people are like of that same group are like saying that they're like overall their happiness is better being married as opposed to people saying they're happy and cohabitating. Which is like interesting, I guess.
Though, like I wonder if those cohabitators, like, are they in a relationship and just more unhappy, or are they single persons living together and they're sad because they're single?
Maybe like, okay, maybe that's a dynamic. Maybe like they're a completely platonic, cohabitating non-sexual relationship, but maybe like one of them wants to be, and like that's why they're not happy because they just.
Yeah, what if that person was one who answered this question?
That's exactly right. Like you asked all the dudes who have like a hot girl roommate that they're cohabitating with that they've been trying to get with, and the girl's just like, nah, sorry,
You're
Mark.
friend
I feel like his
zoned.
name's Mark, probably.
Sorry, Mark.
Sorry, Mark. But I mean, honestly, that's the other thing too. It's like with cohabitating now becoming like a part of society, there almost becomes this subconscious like expectation that it will become something more almost. Even if it doesn't become marriage, it might become more. Do you think that that's true?
I feel like you're probably, you got to be pretty likely to marry the person that you've been living with, right?
I mean, what if it is very literally just like an economic decision where it's like,
which is also completely fair in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, I think that that's extremely fair. Like that, and that's like what you said too. I wish we had better results from like pandemic, because during the pandemic, obviously, like a lot of things happened. People were losing their jobs. Companies were shutting down. The world fucking shut down, which was great. And during that time, people like moved in together for economic reasons.
This could lead right into multi-generational talk. Like
that's going to be
podcast
another
about
one. We're going to talk about.
We deal a lot in multi-generational living and combining resources.
Yeah, and combining you don't have to sell me on that. I think combining resources is a good way to get ahead financially. Obviously,
but sorry, Mom, I don't think that we should live together.
Sorry, we love you. But for real, like there's obviously like sacrifices to make in doing that. But at the same time, like if you're just talking purely economic, financial, like there's some good reasons to combine resources and to like potentially cohabitate. But then you get back into like, okay, like what is the definition? Is it just two people that are living in the same space together?
Like college kids. College kids just be living together all the time. Those big houses, just like full of, like you have that one rich friend that like their parents bought them a house.
Yeah, like you bought a house, and then four of your buddies. Yeah. I don't think that that's cohabitating. For the sake of this argument, I would rather like focus. I don't think you're wrong. Like definitionally, that could be, but for the sake of this discussion, let's say that these people are fucking. I mean, let's just say.
YouTube says, "Is this content made for kids?" No,
it is not. It is not. But so like cohabitating, I looked something else up actually too. And it actually said that like
I see the people in that photo. They're very unhappy with one another.
Exactly. It goes.
They're so unhappy.
Wait a minute. Is this that fucking wolf from the vampire movie?
No.
What's his name? You watched him. Twilight. I don't know his name.
No, you're not right.
That's the wolf from Twilight.
No, it's not.
We'll take a screenshot of this too, everybody.
Taylor Lautner?
Bingo.
No. That is so far from Taylor Lautner. It's
We're going to post a survey on this. I'm going to screenshot this and post it in the video too, so you guys can see. If this is the wolf from Twilight, if you agree with me, give me a thumbs up. And if you don't agree with me and you agree with Allison, do the thumbs down. I'm curious. That's the wolf from Twilight.
That is not the wolf from Twilight.
He's been cohabitating and,
the fact that
he's
you say wolf instead of wolf is
the wolf.
Unreal. The wolf.
Yeah. Not the wolf. The wolf. Sounded the same when I said it. But anyway. So this thing said, this was kind of interesting too. Like, what happens when cohabitating eventually leads to marriage? Because like there's like what, like you start off just living together. And that's something you see in life all the time. You see it depicted in the movies, like a man and a woman, like they move in together. Like they test the waters of being married without actually being married. And that's like what cohabitating is. It's like a test drive of living together. Not that you don't love each other, but obviously like you have your certain like nuances and intricacies and like detail about how you do your life. And then I have mine. It's like little quirks or whatever you want to call them. So like,
we got quirks.
We got quirks. That's what I'm saying. We got all kinds of quirks. Your quirks are crazy.
My quirks are crazy?
You've got crazy quirks.
Oh, we're going to have a quirks episode.
Well, yeah, we'll quirk it out.
Oh, wait a minute. Tell them about your idea.
What idea?
Where we're going to swap places for a week.
Oh, yeah. She's not ready for that. That's something we're going to...
No, I'm literally so excited.
I don't know if it's going to go. Maybe like a couple days.
No, yeah, because you couldn't survive a week.
We're going to... And that's another episode coming to you guys here soon-ish, probably. No promises, but we're going to try and like swap roles in the household for like a few days or something and just see how it goes. And we'll report back live on the podcast here, and we'll
on the pod.
We'll let you know how it goes. But like again, like that's actually so like if any of you are curious, I guess it's a good time to say it since this is our first episode. The title of our podcast and the name of our channel is While You're Up. And like part of that is because it's like one of my like little quirks. It's stupid, but every time that like I'm like chilling, sitting on the couch, whatever, just like relaxing and you know, whatever, I have one of these or whatever, and Allison just chilling too. We're all just relaxing, you know, enjoying some time off. She'll get up for whatever reason, like something probably important. And I'll just say, hey, while you're up. And we just thought that was like an interesting kind of dynamic that, you know, we say and we do.
And positive, every other married couple ever says it.
I'm guaranteed.
It is not an uncommon thing.
It's not an us thing. There's no
But that
way,
was the whole point.
There's no way that you're married and not saying that. But if you're cohabitating, I don't know if that happens because like there's probably like a fine line in like cohabitating because like if you get tired of my shit and you're cohabitating, you're like, get out. Because it like there's not that like other
you wouldn't
stuff.
take 50% of the things with you when you left. So
yeah, I mean, so but it is interesting. This study was like the Journal of Marriage and Family, which sounds very official for what we're talking about. A new study published in the Journal of Marriage and Family finds that premarital cohabitation effect lives on. Basically, despite what you've likely heard, the premarital cohabitation effect is finding that those who live together prior to marriage are more likely, not less, to struggle in marriage. So it's kind of like interesting that if you live together before you're married and then you get married, then the marriage is more likely to struggle.
But I wonder, like, what does it go into, like, what they define as struggle? Because, like, are they the ones that are going to counseling?
There can only be like two, like, if this is a legit research like study, there's only like two things that you could probably figure out. Because like these people don't have like, you know, like access to the inside of your home when you're arguing about something in your bedroom. So it's like got to be like who signed up for marriage counseling and who got divorced. Like those are the two statistics. So it's like it's not struggling. It's like
there's got to be some sort of. But then like I just wonder if those who have been in, who did not premaritally cohabitate, if they just sign up for marriage counseling less.
Well, like where my mind goes is like obviously divorce rate has continued to rise over the years. What else has continued to rise over the years? The cohabitating rate. So this study saying that people that cohabitate and then get married are more likely to struggle. And also, the divorce rate over the years has continued to increase. So like the direct inferment is this, is if you live together before you're married, you're fucked. Like, that's what this is like. Obviously okay. That's a stretch. Obviously there's not much evidence.
Proof is in the pudding. Says it right here.
It does say it right here on the internet, so you know it's true.
With the mad people in the banner.
With the wolf sitting up here, he's mad right now because he cohabitated. Okay, it's a stretch. We did
not live together before we were married.
No,
we're okay.
Well, we have a very unique, just like setup in general. We'll talk about that another time. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. There's definitely correlation there. Maybe not causation, but definitely correlation. As cohabitating has increased, divorce has also increased. And the Journal of Marriage and Family says that if you live together,
other things that have increased as well. So I just wonder if they're.
I'll tell you what, smartphones are like the number one reason, like for divorce. I'm telling you.
You think smartphones are the number one reason for divorce?
Yeah.
I'm gonna need you to explain that.
Well, like, I've never been on Tinder. Like Tinder was before, like Tinder came out like after we were in.
So
like,
is Tinder the cause of this?
Tinder's the reason.
Let's burn Tinder.
But I mean, just like think about it. I don't even know how many dating apps are there out there? Dozens, probably. I mean, and just like other things too that you have access to, and literally in your pocket, in the palm of your hand, like you have access to everything and everybody.
Yeah.
And it's just the access to that stuff that like that's something that has changed the dynamic of all of this, like of like faithful commitment.
See, I would think that it's changed the dynamic, but I think more so just like the expectations of the younger generations is actually what is causing the biggest strain.
Well, that and like also
maybe those expectations have just recently been, they're dynamically changing along with what everybody's seeing all the time on social media, that perfect social media picture.
For sure.
And so then that's what's kind of shifting those expectations.
Well, me and Paul talked about that too. It's like you definitely have shifted expectations because on social media, you just see like, I think Paul said, you only see everyone's highlight reel. Mm-hmm. And like, that's how he phrased it. And it's a good way to phrase it. It's like, you only see the best of everybody. Mm-hmm. It's not really true. Like, and anybody who's married, that like sometimes you see like the worst side of your partner because that's what life is. Like, we're not perfect every day. So like,
and kind of, when you sign up to get married, you're signing up because that person has opened up their world to seeing the worst side of you.
Yeah.
Because you can't go through life alone.
Well, we were not meant to be alone. And again, some people might say that's like a religious thing, but like we're not supposed to be alone.
No.
And actually something...
As like human beings, our biology is not physically capable of just living alone. We literally live in packs.
And we're, we believe, we have faith, and I wouldn't say that we're necessarily religious, but like, I do think that
oh yeah, because there's a big difference between being religious and having faith.
Yeah, but I would say that like in general, it's like if it's a religious thing, then yeah, sure. We're not built to be alone, but that's something that actually Paul and I found like one time back in the past too. He was sitting down here with me, and he brought up the point that like there's several studies out there that indicate that this is the loneliest generation, based off like all of the different metrics that can tell if you're living by yourself or if you're not. Like, this is the loneliest generation by far. It's not even close.
Lonely based on like living alone.
Yeah.
So the cohabitation rate is going up, divorce rate's going up, but then also the amount of people who live alone.
So there's like this. It's like there's different subsets of like the people. Like, to try and make it as simple as possible. Like, the people that are cohabitating or getting married are not the entirety of the entire world's population. Mm-hmm. There is another percentage of the world's population that are doing neither. You know what I mean? So it's like marriage rates are going down, cohabitating is going up, divorce rates are going up, and the people that are choosing to just not partake at all is also going up.
Oh yeah, that does sound lonely.
So like,
you don't want to be a part of any of it. You're just urban.
No.
Are these the people that like live in the mountains by themselves, or are these like that creepy guy that live in apartment 2A? That you're just like, that freaking guy.
If you live in 2A, we're talking to you.
Probably named Mark.
Damn it, Mark. You son of a bitch. But, it's like, I don't know. I think that honestly, it's just a societal thing too, is part of this. Because not only and it's all intermingled and intertwined, and they all have at least some correlation to one another, even if it's not direct causation. They're all part of each other. Mm-hmm. This, since like, I don't know, the last 10 years at least, maybe 10, 15 years at least, it has been, at least in America too, it has become such a like lawsuit, I'm going to sue you, happy world.
Oh my gosh.
In such a legal action world, in such a, if you do wrong by me, then I'm going to take everything you got world. Like that's, and we're not even talking about cohabitation or marriage or whatever this stuff, but just like in general, legal action is so accessible for everybody.
Do you think that has something to do though with like those who hide behind their keyboard?
For sure.
Those same kind of kind of mindset where like they'll say anything to try and look like the bigger person, even though the one thing that could actually make them look like the bigger person is managing the problem betwixt themselves.
No, yeah, and that in general, like like I was saying, it has a lot to do with everything. It's not just about cohabitation or marriage. But that's the thing too. It's like there's so much legal action, and that's like smartphones too. Like everything's fucking recorded all the time. So like people can't just, live their lives anymore. They're always on edge about everything. And I think that's part of it. It's like because they're always on edge about everything, like what they say, what they do, where they go, what they post, no matter what, it's being watched always.
Yeah.
I feel like that gives some people like this edge about marriage, and it's different, but the edge carries over and trickles down into like relationships to where you always feel like this anxiety and pressure of like you're going to get caught even when you don't do anything wrong, that you don't want, or people don't want to maybe necessarily like get into marriage again because like of the legal action that can be taken if it doesn't go right, if it doesn't go well. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't know. It's just like you got to watch everything you say, everything you do, everywhere you go. Why would you not watch like who you legally bind your life with? I don't know. What do you think?
It is a very Sue happy world that we live in.
Do you think that like I'm like right, or do you think that I'm like off, like way off base?
I think it kind of depends on what like that person has like at stake. You know, if you're a 21-year-old who's just like college dropout and you're working at the Wendy's and just like you don't have this like ample amount of assets behind your name, right? Then you probably think about it a little bit less. But if you're an established adult with,
Yeah.
you know, like a long form career and you've got tons of assets behind you, absolutely you're going to be thinking about like questioning if that commitment is actually going to be worth it or not to you because you've got a lot to lose.
Did you hear that? Speaking of like Jeff, like cohabitating, like taking half, like when Jeff Bezos and his wife got divorced, he's so fucking rich that when they got divorced, his now ex-wife became the richest woman in the world. Like that, it's kind of crazy, but just like a little fun fact.
Fun fact.
Fun fact.
Very rich.
Super rich, but no, I mean, I don't know. I feel like the biggest part of the cohabitating, like why it's like desirable. Because obviously, like, we didn't go that route. We did not live together before we were married. You know, we dated, whatever, and then we were married, and then we lived together. But I think why it's desirable is largely for economic reasons, and also, like, what is portrayed in society is like the divorce rate is so high, it's kind of backwards. People are like, I need to test this out before I get divorced because I just don't want to be another statistic.
Right.
But then
that's actually probably more of what it is, where exactly that they're nervous that they're going to be the ones that get divorced. But I think that's just a stem of literally everything else. Like it's hard to think that, you know, this is the person that I'm going to spend the rest of my life with. That's a really big concept that I don't think hardly anybody would understand, especially if you get married young, exactly what that means.
Yeah.
But I think too, when you feel that love between you and your other person, I think that it makes the decision very easy, because then it's not like, oh, are they going to fit into me and who I am and what I do and how I live my life? It's like how are we going to figure this out together? I'll change a little bit. You'll change a little bit. We'll grow up together.
Like that's like part of like what marriage is. That's a large part of what marriage is. It's not that you and I see eye to eye on everything, but it's like you just figure it out together. I don't know. I've told this to like, again, Paul and I used to sit down here and talk about this kind of stuff, and some other friends, Nathan and I, we've talked about it. Me and Wes, and we just like marriage is not as hard as people make it out to be. People are like scared of what it is, but they don't even know what it is.
Yeah.
Like they have an idea of what they might think that it is based on like whatever movies say or whatever the statistics say. But like marriage is like be nice to each other. Consider each other's thoughts and feelings before you act and make decisions. Don't keep secrets. I mean, it's not hard. Like the biggest thing that I see in like most people that actually like struggle in marriage is they're just like fucking mean to each other.
Oh my gosh, so mean.
They're mean. They're like hurtful to each other. And I say that like kind of jokingly, but it's true. It's like, you know, whatever. I'm not a marriage counselor, so do you. We don't have a perfect marriage, but no one does. We have a very, very good marriage.
You're telling me we don't have a perfect marriage?
It's very good marriage. But like there's just like shit that happens where it's like that's what life is. It's not what marriage is, it's what life is. And when you're married, you deal with life together. Like, you know, but I mean that's like if you're nice to each other, you consider each other before you make decisions, you don't keep secrets, you communicate. Like it's really not, there's no secret to it. Like, you know, I don't know.
I think like you've always said, just be nice.
That's such a big part of it. It's like I chose.
You would be nice to your friends. You would be nice to your family. You'd be nice to your coworkers. Why can't you be nice to your spouse?
Yeah. Why wouldn't you be? Yeah. If you like, you're nice to literally everybody else, but you're not nice to the person that you chose to live with every single day. It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense at all.
But you know, whatever. I digress. But I feel like that's part of it. Is like people are just like scared because there's such a high rate of divorce. Like people are scared to do it. And like in the world we live in now, in the lawsuit happy world that we live in.
Every time that you say that, I think of literally like a Native American tribe, the Sioux. SIOUX.
Sure. I don't spell, guys. I don't spell. So, but no, I mean, and just in general, cohabitating, I think that's why like it's on the rise and why people find it intriguing and like desirable or whatever you want to call it, because it allows
People
them,
have commitment issues.
yeah,
That's a wrap.
that's a wrap. But no, like it allows people to like be married, like live the married life without, you know, possibly like losing half their crap. Mm-hmm. Any other thoughts on it?
I think they might just see it as like the easier way to live life.
We're just about done here, just talking about the cohabitating and marriage and all this other fun stuff. It's a really unique thing. In the past, we've done podcasts with other people, which is great, good friends. But doing it together as being a married couple, I think gives really unique perspective on different things. And I think it's going to, cohabitating is like a fun one, but I think there's going to be a lot of unique perspective that you and I being married and sitting down here and just like talking to each other about it.
Yeah.
I think we're going to learn a lot about each other, honestly.
I think we are too. I'm excited.
But if nothing else, it should be entertaining. So, but no, I mean, cohabitating again, guys, we're going to post our link tree in the description. Just click on that link and you're going to be able to filter through to any one of our platforms, whether it's Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, Twitter, you name it. Anything that we've got out there, you click this one link and you're going to be able to filter down to where you want to view our content, where you want to interact with us. We want to hear about it. Again, you know, we're just a young married couple like a lot of people in this country are. And, you know, we decided to sit down here and talk about some things that are going on in the world, some things that we see, things that we find interesting. We talk about this stuff all the time anyway. Pillow talk. It's romantic.
I know we talk about in bed.
Yeah. But is that what pillow talk is? Like it's supposed to be like
Yes.
romantic, like bedroom talk?
Yes.
I just thought it was like talk that like, okay, we have different understanding. I thought it was like talk that you're like, let me bore my husband to sleep really quick so he can like have a good night's sleep. That's what I thought it was.
No, it's not just the words that come out of your mouth whenever you're laying down.
You said something to me last night that I answered while I was asleep, but like I kind of remembered.
Yeah, I know. It was an emotional thing. And you were like, No,
It's
you're
marriage
not,
101,
babe.
people. It's marriage 101, pillow talk.
If you cohabitate, you need to let us know in the comments below. Just write, I cohabitate. And we're going to ask so many questions.
Yeah.
We want to know everything about the whole situation and how it's working out. Are you one of like the 4 out of 10 who are like halfway okay?
Did you cohabitate and then get married to that person you were cohabitating with? That might be interesting too.
What do the bills look like?
Yeah. You get
So
it?
many questions.
So many questions. And the most
Fill us in.
the most important thing, again, do not forget. If that's that fucking wolf boy from Twilight, you guys make sure you agree with me. And we'll see you next week. Thanks, everybody.